Well, I'm doing this video because a few people asked me to talk about being wheat-free. Now, people assume that anyone who is wheat-free automatically just have celiac disease. No, that's not true. Not true at all. I, luckily, do not have celiac disease. I am just allergic to wheat. We discovered a few months ago that was one of the biggest problems that I had with my hands. I quit eating wheat for issues with my thyroids being super high, and it was causing me to kind of be a temporary diabetic. And I noticed that whenever I ate a lot of carbs, that I would get real jittery and shake and have tummy issues and all that. So I kind of just, quit eating it for a little while, and then magically within 2 weeks, my hands cleared up. I had eczema on my hands to where my hands would just crack and bleed, and nothing I did worked. No lotions, no creams, no prescriptions, nothing. Nothing ever worked. And I always looked like I was just punching bricks and punching walls, and they were red. So I noticed now that anytime I eat wheat for a few days in a row where I'm not really supposed to or eat too much of it, my hands get bright red, and then eventually they'll start itching and burning like they used to. So I contacted my doctor and I explained what was going on, and he suggested that we do a wheat test. I, again, do not have celiac disease. Celiac disease destroys your intestines, and it is a major problem, but it's very rare. A lot of people, they say they have celiac disease when they don't because it's a fad, but in turn, celiac is just, it is an autoimmune disease, and it is very crippling to people who genuinely have it. I am just allergic to wheat. What happens with me, again, after a few days, my hands start to kind of get a rash on them, and they start cracking and bleeding. So for over 4 years, I did not understand what was going on, and when I had the tumors removed, I figured that everything that was going on with me would just quit, and it didn't, and we didn't understand why. Who knew that it was wheat? So if I don't eat wheat, then my hands don't bleed. So that right there helps me not really eat it. Now, a lot of people think, well, if you can't eat wheat, what can you eat? Well, you'd be amazed at what has wheat in it, just like corn. But you'd be amazed at everything you can eat. I can eat rice, which means I can eat sushi, so that is wonderful for me because I love sushi. I can eat corn. I try and avoid a lot of processed foods, and they do have a lot of wheat-free, and anything wheat-free is very expensive. And it's just crazy to me how a pizza can be $1, but if it's gluten-free, then it's $7, and it's tiny. So I just really try and avoid any of the processed foods as much as possible because, one, they're super expensive, and they don't taste that great, and why am I going to spend $7 on that? To me, it's just pointless. But I can eat tons of vegetables. Vegetables are one thing that I can eat because I had a friend go, "What can you eat?" You'd be amazed. I can turn vegetables into carbs. I can make zucchini, squash. I can even make sweet potatoes into pasta. You can make those into French fries. You can even grate them up and take the time and bake them and make pizza crust. You can make anything with vegetables. And that's one of the easiest ways to live a wheat-free diet if you have celiac disease or if you want to be healthier and get away from the carbs or the processed food. Now, when you go out to eat, it can be a little bit more difficult. Or if you're out with family, like over the summer, I was visiting my family. We went to the beach a lot, and everybody's eating sandwiches, and I'm trying to eat my lettuce roll-ups, and eventually I had to cave in because it was just so much easier just, to eat a sandwich. And eventually, I paid the price for it. But, I can have a little bit here and there, but I know that whenever I start to eat too much of it, my hands will flare to where they're hot. They feel like they have a sunburn, and I actually had people touch my hands, and they were hot and they were red. So it really did look like I had a sunburn on my hands, but it was just from wheat. But you don't have to starve. You don't have to spend $7 for a little pizza. You don't have to go out of your way to sit here and, get all this gluten-free diet, box stuff that is so expensive. And also, I hear a lot of it doesn't taste very good. So what I do is I just use vegetables. Vegetables are so healthy for you. They're so nutritious for you. And you can bulk up meals. So if I do want to have quinoa, which I can have, I can have rice, I can have potatoes, I can have corn. But I just trying to stay away from flour. You can get almond flour, you can get hazelnut flour or pecan flour or any kind of flour, coconut flour. There are so many varieties of flour other than wheat flour. And there's tons of recipes. You know, I use Pinterest a lot, and, you know, Google and all that. They have tons of recipes that are wheat-free for people with celiac disease and people who are allergic to wheat, because there's wheat sensitivities, there's wheat allergies, and there's celiac disease. And again, I know it's a big fad to say you have celiac disease when you don't, because again, it is very, very rare. Luckily, with my Hashimoto's, we are more prone to having celiac disease, but luckily I don't. I just have wheat allergy. But, you know, it's just, you don't have to break your bank trying to buy all this fancy stuff. Just, you know, research online, use tons of vegetables, and enjoy. Make things fun, make it healthy. And, you know, if you go out, you kind of got to read, you know, the recipes before online to try and see what you can and cannot have. And, you know, just mostly I cook at home because it's so much easier and it's so much cheaper, because I just use a lot of vegetables. So when people go, what can you eat? You can't eat anything. You'll be amazed at anything I can eat, because there's tons of vegetables that you can turn into carbs. So you don't really miss the wheat. You don't miss the processed carbs. And I feel better. My tummy feels better. My hands are not bleeding. And it's a win-win for me.